Melinda French Gates recently opened up about the deeply personal and emotional journey that led her to enter marriage to Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates. Speaking in a candid interview on the How to Fail podcast hosted by Elizabeth Day, she shared how she came to realize that their long-standing marriage, which lasted 27 years, was no longer sustainable. She spoke honestly about the struggle of listening to her inner voice, which had been warning her long before she fully acknowledged the truth. At first, Melinda found herself repeatedly suppressing her intuition. There were several occasions when she felt that something was not right, but she chose to push those feelings aside. She admitted that she did not want to face the possibility that her marriage could be crumbling. She would tell herself she had good reasons to stay. The shared life they had built, their 3 children, their decades-long relationship, and the work they did together through the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation felt too valuable to walk away from. She believed in their mission and the life they had created, and that belief made her want to fight for the relationship, despite the emotional weight she was carrying. However, Melinda revealed that there came a moment that she could no longer ignore. Her intuition had been speaking to her for a long time, but one particular day, the realization finally settled in with clarity and intensity. She described the experience as something that came not just from her mind, but from deep within her soul. She knew in that moment that it was over. She said she felt it in her entire being and that her body, mind, and spirit aligned to tell her it was time to move on. It was no longer something she could talk herself out of or rationalize away. This was not an easy conclusion for her to come to. Melinda emphasized how seriously she took the commitment of marriage. She said she didn't make the decision to separate lightly because it wasn't just about her and Bill, it was about their entire family. She repeatedly underscored that it was never just the 2 of them. It was about all 5 of them, meaning herself, Bill, and their 3 children, Jennifer, Rory, and Phoebe. She cared deeply about the unity and well-being of her family, and she considered that above everything else. The decision to end her marriage came only after she had given it every chance to survive. Though Melinda did not go into great detail about the exact reasons for the breakdown of the marriage, she acknowledged that outside factors played a role in how things unfolded. She hinted that things that became public, including Bill's ties to disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, weighed heavily on her. Even before those revelations, she had been having serious internal conflicts, experiencing recurring nightmares and emotional turmoil. By 2019, she had quietly sought advice from divorce attorneys and was already considering what life would look like outside the marriage. These were not fleeting thoughts. They had become real and unavoidable, building over time until they could no longer be dismissed. In May 2021, Melinda and Bill Gates announced their decision to divorce, explaining in a joint statement that they no longer believed they could grow together as a couple in the next phase of their lives. The world reacted with surprise and curiosity, but for Melinda, the decision had been years in the making. The formal divorce was finalized in August 2021. By then, the emotional journey had already reached its turning point for her. She had spent the necessary time doing the emotional work of separating herself from the marriage long before the public heard about it. Today, Melinda reflects on her life with strength and clarity. She has spoken about how she has moved forward and how she's found happiness again. She is now in a relationship with former Fox News correspondent John Dupree, though she remains private about many details of her personal life. What she has been vocal about is the importance of trusting one's inner voice and the power of making difficult but necessary choices for one's well-being. She believes strongly in encouraging other women to listen to that deep instinct and not to silence their own truth, even when it seems easier or safer to stay silent. Melinda also acknowledged that making the decision to leave someone she had spent nearly 3 decades with was one of the most painful experiences of her life. But through that pain, she gained wisdom and resilience. Her ability to speak about it now, so openly and without bitterness, has resonated with many who face similar struggles but lack the support or courage to act on their instincts. Her story is not just about a high-profile divorce. It's about personal transformation, emotional honesty, and what it takes to let go of something that no longer serves your well-being. The world may see Melinda as a billionaire philanthropist and former wife of one of the most powerful tech figures in the world, but her reflections show she is also someone who has experienced deep heartbreak, who has struggled with doubt and fear, and who ultimately chose to walk a path of truth and healing. She continues to lead important work through the Gates Foundation and her own philanthropic efforts, and she remains committed to empowering women and girls globally. But now, she does so as a woman who has stepped into her own identity outside of marriage. Her message to others is clear: never underestimate the value of your inner voice. It may be the hardest voice to hear, but it's the one that will never steer you wrong. Melinda French Gates's story has touched hearts not only because of her status but because of the relatable emotions at its core. Love, trust, betrayal, resilience, and clarity, these are not just elements of a celebrity story, they're universal. Her journey is a reminder that even the most powerful, successful, and composed people go through moments of personal crisis. And how they choose to come out of it, honestly, openly, and on their own terms, can inspire others to do the same.